Hello students, I am Dr. Binod Kumar Singh, Professor of Civil Engineering at Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College, Ghaziabad. So today I will be discussing supplementary cementing material part 3. So in that one I will be discussing silica fume and rice husk ash. So these two things will be discussed in this supplementary cementing materials here. So silica fume will be discussed in the details, and brief introduction about the rice husk will be given here. Okay. So here the supplementary cementing material I have given the photographs of some of the supplementary cementing material which can be used as a mineral admixtures. So if you see from left to right, you can say this is a fly ash class C type. So we have two type of fly ash, one is type C. So type C is having apart from pozzolanic, they have hydraulicity also, means in the presence of water that will react with the water, and that will make a cementitious material. Second one is metakaolin. Okay. So this is the metakaolin, you can see the color here, and third one is silica fume. So color may be others also. So generally it is a little dark in nature, but it may be light also. Okay. So this is a silica fume. So this one we are going to study in details, and then we have fly ash class F type. So this is class F type, means this is having the properties of pozzolana, and this is not having hydraulic property, means in the presence of water it is not going to react, and we need certain supplementary things to react with this material F type of silica fume that has been discussed in previous lecture. And then we have here slag cement. So this you are observing, this is a slag cement, and another is calcined shell you are getting. So all these are mineral admixtures. So that I had to be discussed. So this particular lecture I am going to discuss about the silica fume. Okay. So what is silica fume? So this silica fume is governed by IS 15388 2003, and if you go to American Society of Testing Material ASTM C1240. So if you go through this code book, you can get the details about the silica fume. So how silica fume is produced? So silica fume is produced by electric arc furnaces as a byproduct of the production of elemental silicon metal or ferrosilicon alloys. Okay. So it is a very fine pozzolanic material composed mostly of amorphous silica. So this amorphous silica, this is very highly reactive. Okay. So about 90% part of the silica fume will have about amorphous silica. So what are the raw material required here? So raw material required is quartz, coal, and wood chips. The smoke that result from the furnace. So this is the electric arc furnace you are observing here in this plate. Okay. So that has been, this photograph has been taken from Silica Fume Association of USA. From there I have taken this photograph here, and this is the electric arc furnace, and from there we have to take, and in this things we have to collect this and sold as a silica fume. So here in tube form it has been shown here. So this is in liquid form also you can sell, or you can sell as a powder form. So, both the photographs I have shown here. So, liquid form also it is available, and this is available in powdered form. Okay. So, their fineness, this is very fine in nature. Okay. So, if you see the what are the chemical requirements of silica fume. So, this is governed by IS 15388 2003. So, if you see the SiO2 percent by mass, so minimum it should have 85% silica, reactive silica. Okay. So, what should be the moisture content? So, sometimes moisture will also be available, but this should not be more than 3% by mass. If you are doing loss on ignition test, so loss on ignition if you find, so that should not be more than 4%. Okay. So, all these things you have to test as per the IS requirement. Alkalis as a NO2O, that should not be more than 1.5%. So, this is the requirement of silica fume. So, this material they have told this should having a limitation, this should be as less as, then it will be good, and SiO2 is as high as it will be good, but minimum value should not be less than 85% by weight. Then we have physical requirement. What should be the physical requirement of silica fume? So, if you see the specific surface area, so this specific surface area we are not going to test by Bellani test, we have to see some standard test, okay, that I will discuss later. So, that is given in the, that procedure has been given in annexure A of IS 15388 2003. So, that code book you are supposed to download for how to get the, how to find the specific surface area of fly silica fume. So, if you see in meter square per gram, or you can say in centimeter square per gram. So, this should not be less than 1.5 lakh centimeter square per gram, their surface area. If you consider with the OPC, ordinary Portland cement, their specific surface area is around 2250 centimeter square per gram. Even you consider the fly ash, their specific surface area is 3250 minimum, okay, centimeter square per gram, but here minimum value is 1.5 lakh centimeter square per gram. So, it is having very fine particles. While handling this material, you should be very careful, so that you should not inhale. So, oversize percent retained on 45 micron IS sieve, maximum should requirement is 10, okay. It should not be more than 10%. So, that you have to test according to IS 1727, okay. And oversize percent retained on 45 micron IS sieve, variation from average percent, maximum value should not be more than 5%. That also you have to see the specification from 1727 how to test this. Similarly, you have to go for the compressive strength test. So, compressive strength test at the age of 7 days, as percent of control sample, minimum should be 85 with respect to that. So, for testing that, what we have to do? You have to take a sample. So, what should be the size of sample? If you consider, so sample size is like this. So, this is your 50 and this is your 50 and this is the, you have to make the cube of 50 mm size. So, for this what you have to do? You have to take the this silica fume. So, n times silica 0.8 of n times n times of silica fume, okay, multiplied by silica fume, then you have to take cement. So, 0.8 you have to take the part of cement, then you have to take the 3 times sand, and then this ratio what you have to do, this one you have to take water. So, water once again you have to take the flow table test, and that flow table test you have to give the determine for 25 blows in 15 seconds you have to get this values. Okay. So, whatever the water is required, so that you have to consider water percentage, and then prepare a cube, a standard cube as per 1727 and test at the age of 7 days. So, after testing their compressive strength, relative compressive strength should be 85%. So, this test we are supposed to perform. Okay. So, what is the specific surface area? If you consider the specific surface area of silica fume, so that is determined by gas absorption method, that is given in IS 15338 2006 in annexure A. In annexure A. So, that procedure we have to follow and then find the specific surface area, and a specific surface area should be greater than 1,50,000 centimeter square per gram, that is important. Okay. So, if you see the micro silica availability, so that is available in the market in 3 form. So, first is you can get bulk density. So, if you find the bulk density, their bulk density should be in the range of 150 to 350 kg per meter cube, and this is nothing but in a natural form. Okay. So, suppose this is having a bulky. So, reduce that, what you can say, you can densify. So, you densify, if you densify, so densification if you are doing, so there in that case bulk density can be increased to 500 to 600 kilogram per centimeter cube. So, this process you have to adopt to increase the densification of the microsilica. And if you are considering the micro pelletized form with bulk density, that is in 600 to 800 kg per meter cube range, and you are getting sometimes in slurry form also. You can get the microsilica in slurry form. So, what is the density in this slurry form? So, in slurry form their density will increase to 1400 kg per meter cube. So, these are the different form you can find out. Okay. So, India we are not making properly here. So, we have to get it from the other country. In India they have started, if you see the Steel Authority of India, they have set up the plant, but the quality of silica fume produced by them is not up to that mark. Okay. So, that is required to be enhance their efficiency. Okay. So, if you see the background of hydration of OPC, let us see the background of hydration of OPC. So, we have 4 box compound, like we have C3S, C2S, C3A, C3A. So, these are the box compound you have, these are the box compound you have, these are the box compound you have, we have the box compound you have. So, all this box compound react with water, and after reacting with water they are going to produce some cementing material like CSS gel. We are getting CSS gel, and here byproduct you are getting this calcium hydroxide also. This is the cement chemistry, calcium hydroxide. You can say calcium hydroxide, that means calcium hydroxide. So, this is the chemistry formula and this is the cement chemistry formula, and all the reaction is exothermic in nature. So, you are going to get the heat of hydration also. We are going to get the heat of hydration also. Similarly, if you see the dicalcium silicate, so this dicalcium silicate is also going to react with water, and that is going to form calcium silicate hydrate. This component is also going to form calcium silicate hydrate and calcium hydroxide in cement chemistry. Okay. So, these are the very good compound here you are observing here. but problem is with calcium hydroxide. So, calcium hydroxide is having some good properties, like they are having the pH values because this is a chuna, calcium had lime. So, pH is above 13, but this is having another drawbacks, that it is not going to give you any cementing properties, and in the presence of water there is a chances of leaching, and not only that, leaching after dissolve it may react with the carbon dioxide present in the atmosphere, and there is a chances of carbonation. So, this will take carbon dioxide from the oxygen, and that they will react and form the calcium carbonate. So, the size of the calcium carbonate, if you see the crystal, their volume is less with respect to the volume of the calcium hydroxide CO3 volume. So, that is going to weaken your structure in long term. Okay. So, this weak link we have to go for making the betterment, how to improve that. Okay. And these are not going to give you better results like C3A or C4A, their contribution towards strength is very, very less, but we have to keep C3A and C4AF, that is required to reduce the fusion temperature in manufacture of cement. So, that was very, very important here. So, what we are observing here, so this product, how to improve this product by addition of mineral admixture. So, if you see here, you have a lots of amorphous silica here. So, it is around 90%, you can minimum requirement is 85%, but you always will get more than 90%. So, around 90% you have the amorphous silica here in silica film, and calcium hydroxide we are going to get from the byproduct from the hydration reaction of cement, Okay. And amount of calcium hydroxide is around 28%. If you see the total product, so about 28 to 30% you will get the calcium hydroxide in the cement product. Okay. So, this one is going to react and you are going to get calcium silicate hydrate from here. So, you are going to get additional calcium silicon hydrate, and this calcium silicon hydrate is going to provide more strength, more refinement in the pores. Okay. So, if you see here, if you are taking a 15% micro silica, that in a 2 samples it has been taken here, and it has been observed that 15% of micro silica reduced the calcium hydroxide of 2 samples of cement, 24% initially the amount of calcium hydroxide was 24%. Okay. And in 90 days they have observed that 12% of calcium hydroxide has been utilized. Okay. Similarly, from 25% in another sample they have taken a cement which is going to produce the calcium hydroxide of 25%. Okay. So, that 25% reduced to 11% in 1 year, 180 days, not 1 year, 6 months, 180 days. So, what we are observing here? So, this calcium hydroxide, which is a useless link in our hydration product, so that is going to improve the strength of the concrete, that is going to improve the strength of the concrete. Okay. So, the same time this is reducing the pH value. Okay. So, pH value it is going to reduce. So, what is the disadvantage of reduction of the pH value? That is passivity of the concrete is no more, means this will become active against the corrosion. Okay. So, but still even after the 6 months you are having 11%, and ingress of oxygen or ingress of moisture Okay. So, that will take place slowly, because that is going to improve the microstructure. So, once it is going to improve the microstructure of the concrete, so in grace of deleterious material like oxygen, moisture, chloride, carbon dioxide, sulphate, all these things will be very slow. So, that is not going to create problem with the reduction of pH value. Okay. What is the advancement we are getting? Because we are getting a dense and amorphous here. Okay. Reaction between microsilica and appears dense and amorphous. So, this is the microsilica in liquid form we are finding here, and this one you are getting the improved, say let us say this is your aggregate, this is your aggregate, and this is your mortar. Okay. So, mortar, how we are getting the mortar? This is nothing but mortar we are getting from the cement paste, from the paste plus fine aggregate is going to give you the mortar. How we are going to get the paste? So, paste means where paste you are going to get by adding cement, silica fume or any other admixture plus water. Okay. So, this is going to give you the paste. So, in this mortar, coarse aggregate is suspended in this mortar. So, what is the interface here? This is the interface here at this junction here, that is you are getting the improved interface ITZ. Okay. So, here ITZ is going to improve with the help of addition of microsilica in the concrete, microsilica in the concrete. Okay. So, due to that what you are going to get? You are going to get a better concrete which is having a very high strength and high performance, and that is but only thing, once you are adding the microsilica, their requirement that increase the requirement of water demand may increase. If you are using the fly ash, that is going to reduce the water demand, but due to the presence of microsilica, water demand will increase. So, whenever you are producing the adding the silica fume, you have to take care that we have to add certain chemical admixture which is going to reduce the water demand. Okay. So, what are the advantage we are going to get with this? So, one advancement you are getting improvement in compressive strength. With the help of this, we are able to produce very high strength concrete, because you have divided the concrete into three category, three groups like ordinary concrete, standard concrete, high strength concrete. So, high strength concrete ranges from 65 MPa to 100 MPa, but with the help of even silica fume, we are able to produce ultra high strength concrete. So, that is going to improve that product. Even there is a improvement in modulus of elasticity. So, what will happen? Modulus of, if you see the graph here. So, if the graph of the concrete is like this, ordinary concrete, if you are using with the help of silica fume, this is going to produce like this. So, this elasticity of concrete, this slope is also going to improve here. This slope is also going to, means we are going to get the higher value of modulus of elasticity. Higher value of modulus of elasticity means less deflection in the member. Okay. So, if you are able to produce good concrete with high strength, the cross sectional area of the column, beam, foundation will be less. So, you will be getting added advantage of that. Similarly, we have significant improvement in permeability, abrasion resistance, chemical resistance of concrete. So, all these property it is possible to get enhanced due to the addition of silica fume. So, we have to think regarding producing more silica, good quality of silica in our country, so that we need not require to bring from the other country. Okay. So, now I will discuss in brief regarding rice husk. So, how to get the rice husk? How to get the rice husk? That is obtained by burning rice husk in a controlled manner. Okay. So, that sintering should take place, it should be fused. If you are not burnt properly, then that will, instead of enhancing the concrete property, that is going to become a deleterious property. Okay. So, that you have to burn in controlled condition. So, what are the things you are finding in rice husk? So, rice husk ash is having amorphous silica of about 90%, just like silica fume. Silica fume is also having 90% amorphous silica SiO2. Carbon you have about 5%, K2O have around 2%, and if you see the specific surface area, that is also 40 to 100 meter square per gram, 40 to 100 meter square per gram. Okay. So, their specific surface area is also very high. Okay. So, we can compare, because we have lots of rice paddy production in our country, about 120 million tons of paddy we are able to produce every year in our country, and that we are not using properly. And if you take a 1 ton of paddy, we will be able to produce about 40 kg of rice husk, and while we are burning this rice husk, we can get thermal energy also we can produce. So, with the help of that, that also you can use as some fuel, this paddy rice husk. Okay. So, if you are burning about 1 ton, so 1 ton means 1000 kg will get around 40 kilogram of rice husk ash. Okay. So, that is a very good quality of pozzolanic material able to get here. So, this is a good potential to make use of rice husk ash as a valuable pozzolanic material to give almost the same properties as that of micro silica. So, this one we have to develop, although this is a recommended in code, but it is at experimental level, not we are using this one in actual field. Similarly, even you can consider the bagasse. So, bagasse is also having a very good quality of silica. So, that can also be think from the sugarcane bagasse will be able to produce the ash if you do it at controlled condition. So, this is the mineral admixture which is very important, that can be used. Okay. And if you see in nature, lots of volcanic ash deposit is also available. So, that survey is required, because if you see the volcanic ash, so there is a deposit of volcanic ash in our country also at certain depth. Okay. So, that is also required, that is also possessing a good amount of silica like fly ash. So, if that is possible, we will be able to get a good material, because cement production, if you are producing a cement, let us say we are producing a 1 ton of cement. So, almost same amount of carbon dioxide we are going to send in the atmosphere. Okay. So, this 1 ton of carbon dioxide, that is going to harm our environment, that is going to produce the create the greenhouse problem. Okay. So, suppose we are able to replace this pozzolanic material like with the help of rice husk or rice husk ash or silica fume or fly ash. What is the advantage we are going to get? We are going to that much amount of cement we are going to get reduce, Not only that, due to the use of this rice husk ash or silica fume, we are going to produce more durable concrete, high performance concrete, which is having a very high strength. So, due to that we will be increasing the life of the structure, say 100 years. Okay. So, that is the advantage you can use by getting the using the rice husk ash or silica fume. Thank you.